Hey, I'm Lauren from TastyPC.tv, and today I'm reviewing the new Corsair Hydro H100i. So the original H100 has become the benchmark for closed-loop liquid cooling solutions, and this refresh comes at a time when companies like Enimax, Coolmaster and NZXT are rapidly developing their own solutions. So the H100i's concept is the same as with the original H100, but Corsair have added a lot of new features and upgrades. I have had this cooler for a little while now, but I've been putting off doing this video waiting for a firmware update, but it's literally just been released and it fixes a few issues. So I'm going to start by taking for a look at the box. Looking at the box, Corsair have used the same kind of style packaging as with the AXI power supply range. Just like the AXI series, the H100i supports Corsair Link. And this gives you features such as being able to monitor the temperature and control the fan speed and lighting. Here we've got the spec of the fans. This is a good time to pause if you want to get a chance to read them. Moving to the back of the box, if I just zoom in a little bit, here we've got two graphs. The first one is the temperature difference between a H100i and an Intel stock cooler on an i7 3770K at 4.6 GHz. And here we've got the noise difference between H100i and the original H100 at 100% load. And then here we've got a list of the supported sockets and processors. In the box you get two fans, the fan cables, the Corsair Link software cable, and I'll talk to you about all that in a minute, the AMD and Intel mounting brackets in this sexy like shiny chrome. You also get a back plate, the screws and everything needed to fit the H100i, and a user manual. Before I take a look at the H100i itself, I thought I'd look at the fans in more detail. So this is what Corsair call an SP120L. It's essentially an SP120 fan but on steroids. It's got the same fan blades as the SP120 fans, which have been designed for maximum static pressure, except this fan's got an insane RPM of 2,700, whereas the SP120 high performance edition fans have got an RPM of 2,350. Now I'm sure there are some of you wondering why have Corsair included such high RPM fans rather than getting a fan that focuses on having a lower noise level, such as the SP120 Quiet Edition fans. And simply put, for people to want to purchase the H100i, it does have to be other closed liquid cooling solutions, including the original H100. And if Corsair had used a lower RPM fan, that just wouldn't be possible. But Corsair have made it very, very easy for you to be able to lower the RPM of this fan using the Corsair Link software. So the SP120L has lost the coloured removable ring and the rubberised corners, and I have to say it does look significantly better than an original H100 fan. So now I'm going to do a sound test. Looking at the H100i, it does look very different to the original H100. It still uses a 240mm radiator, but the tubes are significantly different. They're now made out of rubber, which means they're more flexible and easier to work with, and they're also thicker, meaning that they've got an increased flow rate, whilst keeping the evaporation rate down, the same as with the old plastic ones. Another upgrade that I love is that Corsair have traded the old Molex power cable for a SATA. There were so many times that I had to plug in a Molex cable just to power a H100 that this will really be useful. Looking at the pump block unit, this is the place where Corsair have made the most changes, and I have to say it looks really sexy, especially as the Corsair logo lights up. It uses an RGB light, and you can use the Corsair Link software to change its colour to whatever you want. Now I know a lot of people get confused by the Corsair Link software, but basically everything you need to run it comes in the box. You don't need to go out and buy a separate kit. This has basically got a Corsair Link kit inside it. To connect your H100i to your PC to be able to use the Corsair Link software, you just plug the included USB cable into this port here and into a USB 2 header on your motherboard. You can then also plug in an additional Corsair Link capable device into here and then monitor it using the Corsair Link software. To connect the fans to the H100i, you can use the fan cables, and these have each got two connectors on them. So the H100 supports 4 fans in total, and you can use the Corsair Link software to change their RPM. So with everything plugged into the H100i, you can control and monitor the colour of the Corsair logo, the speed of the fans, and the additional Corsair Link capable device, such as the new AXI power supply. It is worth mentioning that with all of these cables running into the H100i, it will be quite hard to get it looking tidy. So it will be interesting to see if the H100i remembers what colour you make the Corsair logo, so that you can then unplug the cable once you've changed it. Looking at the block itself, it has a new cold plate design which improves performance. Corsair have already applied thermal paste for ease. So now I'm going to take you for a really quick look at the Corsair Link software. Taking a look at the Corsair Link software, you can see that I have already configured everything to my test build and changed the image to my rig, and everything is movable and customisable. One thing that I really do love about the H100i is that even if you've only got 2 fans actually fitted to it, you can still plug in an additional 2 fans and control and monitor them through the Corsair Link software as well. So I'd probably plug in the front 2 fans and then I'd have full control of the main intake and exhaust fans, straight through the Corsair Link software. But like I said before, you can change and control the fan speed. There are some preset fan profiles for you to choose from, but you can make your own custom one and take complete control of performance and noise levels of the H100i. But if you click on the H100i LED, it brings up the side menu here, and this allows you to change the colour of the LED behind the Corsair logo to whatever you want. You can, if you want, have it cycling between 2 or 4 colours, or you can have it change depending on temperature limits that you set, or you can have it pulsating on and off very, very slowly. And if you click here, you can also monitor the Corsair Link capable device that you've plugged in, such as an AXI power supply. Before I move on to the performance tests, I wanted to touch on an issue that the original H100 had with having a noisy pump. I noticed that in pretty much every review of the original H100, no one even touched on this problem or marked the cooler down because of it. And I mean, I currently have 2 H100s and one of them has the faulty pump noise problem, so for me that's a personal fault rate of 50%. So because of how big of an issue this is, I'm going to do a really quick pump sound test. As you can see by my test results, I'm glad to say that the H100i doesn't seem to have the pump noise issue. In fact, my pump is almost silent. But I do only have one H100i, so I can't guarantee that the rest of the entire range will also have quiet pumps. But I did also test my H80i, which sounded exactly the same as the H100i, which is definitely a good indication. I do personally think that Corsair should put something into place that allows people who have got noisy H100s to be able to upgrade at a discount. I know so many people with noisy hydros that they just don't want the hassle of returning it or having to set up for one of the fixes, so I think something like this would definitely help the hydro's reputation. Moving on to the performance test results, I tested the H100i with its stock fans, the SP120Ls, at 100% load, then at 50% load. I then tested the original H100 with its stock fans at 100% for comparison. I did also test both the H100i and the original H100 using SP120 Quiet Edition fans as a neutral comparison. And I ran all the tests on my i5 3570K, overclocked 4.6 GHz at 1.35 volts on prime for 60 minutes, and here is a graph of the results that I got. So at the top we've got the results for the H100i, and beneath that the results for the original H100. And in blue you can see the results of both coolers using the SP120 Quiet Edition fans, and the H100i is about 4 degrees cooler than the original H100. There's also around a 4 degrees difference between the H100i and the H100 with their stock fans. I did only run these tests once, but it does look like there is a performance boost, grading from the original H100 to the H100i. Moving on to the conclusion, the H100i is a great cooler, and comparing its temps to the original H100 and taking into consideration its massively improved, quieter pump, it's definitely a great upgrade. Now, there are some areas where I feel like Corsair haven't quite raised the bar as high as they could have done. For example, with the included fans, I would love to have seen Corsair use full SP120 fans and have 2 versions of the H100i, a H100i Quiet Edition and a H100i High Performance Edition. But performance-wise, I would definitely recommend considering getting a H100i if you're getting a new rig. However, if you do already have a H100 and you're happy with it, then the 4-ish degree performance boost you'll get probably isn't enough to warrant the price of upgrading. One thing that I'd personally do with the H100i, and this is just to make things a little bit tidier, is once you've changed the colour of the Corsair logo, unplug the Corsair Link software cable, and then you can plug your fans either into your motherboard, fan controller, or directly into your power supply, and then the only cable that you've got to have running out of the H100i is the power cable. But giving the H100i an award, it has to be the 5-star gold award. It's a really sexy cooler, it's got great performance and a really quiet pump, and I'm really interested to see how it does against the other new coolers. So that was my review of the Corsair H100i. If you liked the video, hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.